Alright, YouTube. Here's what we're doing today. I've been painting the house in the background for a while. Don't worry, it's not going to stay that color, but it's just being primed. Anyway, it might rain a little bit off and on, so naturally, I'm doing other work that I shouldn't be doing in the rain. Let's go ahead and show off what we're doing. So, inside here, you might be noticing, there's a lot more paneling in here. You see all these panels that are thrown together? Well, I tried to get Paige to help me. That's fun. It's actually coming along pretty well at this point. And you might notice over here... Here is my MPP Solar 1012 LV 1000 watt all-in-one solar charge controller, 120 output, 120 input, 12 volt system. You might be wondering, honestly, I'm probably going to need to show off a couple of minor things with this itself. I've got the solar input going on here, and I've got my bat box over there. It's still a little bit unsecured. I'm going to use it as, I'm going to move it so that way it can balance out the rest of the camper pretty well. So that way I can get the weight balance pretty well. Anyway, here's what I've done over here. This is the main power bar. I built kind of just a little 1x4 ledge under this window, so that way people could set like phones and stuff like that on it. And over here, this is meant to be where the USB goes in, so that way you can plug in like your phones or what have you. This is the ledge that's going to be like right by it. And I have a 12 volt just like little marine plug or cigarette lighter plug. The whole thing turns off and on too, by the way. So that way you won't have that light going on. And it gives me a little battery bonus here. You might be wondering, why do I have that? Well, I figured it'd be really useful to have a 12 volt heated blanket on top of where the bed is going to be for a good passive cooling solution. So that's one idea there. And, being able to charge phones would be useful. Could also put like a little 12 volt fan up here. Paige needs a fan to sleep half the time, so that might be our solution here. Anyway, I just got some 4 AWG cables going in directly over here. I've got 150 amp 12 volt fuse going on here. This is a Marine 150 amp 12 volt breaker going into my bus bars, going into here. You can tell carpentry I'm not good at, but electrical wiring I'm actually not too bad at. And all goes in directly over here. I've got I'm trying, instead of having a new box for everything, like a whole mini service box, I'm just going to do everything with these little Chinesium breakers. I figure it's probably a decent idea. Anyway, that's my 12 volt on-off breaker slash switch, although that's honestly pretty overkill. I'm only putting 400 watts in here. And yeah, two things you will want to know about this. First off, this does not have lithium battery set, but it is really easy to change how you need to do this. So I've got an eco-worthy 280 amp 12 volt lithium iron phosphate battery here. So you need to change this one's max charging voltage up to 14.6. I have it at 14.5 right now because I'm paranoid. To do that, all you need to do is hold enter down for 3 seconds. Yeah, it makes the beep, I know. And then you're able to change through the settings. So you'll want to change 5 to be user, which just means user defined. It doesn't have lithium on there for some reason. And then just go down to... God, this takes forever. 26. That's 27. 26. Hit enter again. You're able to change the setting on this to what its max voltage is going to be. And this should auto put it to what your floating voltage needs to be. And this one should be around 13.5, 13.6 if you have a similar setup to mine. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and just exit out of that. But yeah, you can also just scroll through with the up and down buttons, see what we have going in. It's a cloudy day underneath a tree, but even then we're still pulling in 32 volts and 1 amp, 3 amps actually, from the top solar panels, which is giving us a little bit of power. You know, just 60 watts of input. It's not much. It's less than a quarter of what we could be getting, but hey, we're still getting power. That's useful. Don't really need... if we were camping today, we wouldn't really need it for much anyway. I mean, you know, what are we, it's kind of a nice, cool day out. So, you know. Anyway, I'm keeping this book with it. You can see I'm building like a little bit of a cabinet around it using these 1x6 pieces of pine. And I'm just going to build that going all the way up here and all the way down. And this way I'll have like a little utility cabinet that should keep everything contained pretty well. The next big thing I want to work on, because I'm an idiot, we're going to just keep all of our sundries around here. You know, like, this is all going to be utility boxes in the future. So this top area will be its own little utility bot. You know, like its own little cabinet down there. Cabinet on main over here that'll open up on the side, so that way we can get to this easy. And it doesn't have that big of a profile space. I'll also put like a little 120 outlet right down there, which I think is a good idea. Yeah, you just want a couple... I'm only going to be running 10 amps on this. One of these is... I'm going to need to label these, but this is the 20 amp input. This is the 10 amp output. And they're just going to flow right out of that. So I'm only using one breaker for each, just so I can shut it off real easy. I figure that's a good idea. And I'm going to turn this off. To turn this off, there's a little switch down the corner over here, but you also want to I'm just disconnecting the breaker every time as well, just so there's no power going into it. And then just flipping all the switches. Red means that it's performing work, so don't mess around with it. Green means you're good to work on it. Up means power is on. Yeah, up means power is on. Anyway, on to the next thing I'm working on. This took me a hot minute, which is part of the reason why I was working on the video, was I was trying like hell to figure out, let's go back inside for a moment, how to get this thing off. I was looking at it for the longest time, being like, where are the screws? How's it meant to go in there? And I was looking at it, and looking at it, and looking at it. Here's what I figured out. Go up here, on my ladder. Feels like it's gonna rain, so I'm an idiot for working on this today, but yeah, gotta. Oh, this is how I have it coming out, by the way. Yeah, you just get one of these little output things, and yeah, just go ahead and make sure you crimp everything down really well. I screwed everything in with sheet metal screws and then put 2 layers of Flex Seal around the corner just to make sure nothing could get in. And I Flex Sealed it from the other side too. I'm just really paranoid about something getting in. You know, something getting in here. But yeah, you know, if you want to take off these panels, they're not secured down yet. I'm going to use some really strong double-sided tape. But if you need to disconnect these, disconnect the breaker from the inside first, and then you're good to rearrange these however you want. And if I want to go with a different panel solution, or these fly off in the highway or something like that, I can always just plug in like a couple of cheap Harbor Freight panels in the event I need power in an emergency. So that's an option. Of course, there's also a 120 plug on here too, so yeah. Anyway, replacing the roof vent with an actual, instead of just like a little pop-up thing that has no fan, we're putting the roof fan on there that has a remote control, and it's 12-volt powered and is really well reviewed. It cost me about $150. I could not figure out how to take this off. So, lean on here. You can see around the edge, it's just kind of, with age, this RTV silicone foam has just been put on over time. So in order to remove it, I eventually just started stabbing at it, and that actually worked. So yeah, what you gotta do is you gotta just clean off all this, and you'll reveal where the old screws are. You can't really see them all that well in this gray weather, but they're here, I assure you. So I'm gonna go ahead and start playing around with getting rid of all this. Hopefully I can put that new 12-volt fan in today, and that's gonna be my today's work. So, all right, later all.